All right, let's talk about setting workplace goals. Today, we're going to break down a real, practical blueprint for advancing your career. This is all about how you can take that ambition you've got and turn it into a plan that you can actually achieve. So think about this. How exactly do you go from being on the cleanup crew to becoming a university professor? I mean, that sounds like a crazy leap, right? But believe it or not, that's the exact journey we're going to map out. And it's such a powerful story because it shows a formula for success that really anyone can follow, no matter where you're starting. You know, the whole journey really starts with a simple truth. Hope, well, it's just not enough. Don't get me wrong, hope is super important. It's what keeps the dream alive. But hope by itself, it won't get you across the finish line. It's the starting point, sure, but it's not the car. So what's the bridge? What takes you from where you are now to where you really want to be? Yeah, and this quote really just nails it. It says, hope is one element of growth, and action is another. It is one's actions that take a person from the real to the ideal. See? Action. That's the engine. It's what drives everything. And when all those actions are pointed toward a specific goal, well, success isn't just a possibility. It's pretty much a probability. So let's meet the person whose story we're diving into. This is Dr. Bahaudin G. Mujtaba. Honestly, his career is like a masterclass in how to turn hope into a real solid plan. His journey is what gives us the entire framework for what we're talking about today. All right, so where does a journey like this even begin? Well, every big climb starts at the very bottom, right? On that first rung. And for Dr. Mujtaba, that meant he had to get his hands dirty. His very first job in the U.S. was as a cleanup boy in a Publix supermarket's bakery. So picture this. He's just arrived in the U.S., he's learning English, and he gets this job in his senior year of high school. And his main gig? Sanitation. We're talking washing dishes, mopping floors, the tough stuff, for 5 or 6 hours every day after school. It's a humble start for sure, but as we'll see, it was absolutely crucial. 50 cents. Now, this number tells a huge part of the story. Get this. Only 4 weeks into the job, his manager was so blown away by his work ethic that he gave him a 50-cent raise. Now, I know that doesn't sound like a lot of money, but think about the message it sent. It was a massive signal that his hard work was getting noticed and that it was valued. And this really boils down to a few key things he showed from day one. He was flexible, always willing to take on extra hours. He had a super strong work ethic and was totally committed. He just performed at a really high level. And that recognition he got, that little 50-cent raise, it was like fuel. It boosted his motivation and taught him just how important it is to be someone the team can't do without. Okay, so he built this amazing foundation of hard work. How did it pay off? Well, let me tell you, this was not some slow, gradual climb. It was a fast track up, and it was all fueled by that same dedication he showed from the very beginning. Just look at this progression. He starts as the cleanup boy. Then he becomes a full-time baker. 3 years go by, he's promoted to assistant manager. And then, this is the wild part, just 4 weeks later, he's the bakery manager. This timeline just goes to show how fast you can move up when you consistently prove you're valuable. In the end, he was with the company for 16 years and even rose to a senior training specialist role at their HQ. So what does it take to climb that fast? Well, this number, 60 to 80, kind of gives you a hint. As a manager, he was pulling 60 to 80-hour weeks sometimes. And this wasn't just about punching a clock. It was about a serious commitment to doing the job right and, just as importantly, leading his team well. And the level of responsibility, it was huge. As the bakery manager, his department was bringing in almost $1 million in revenue every single year. $1 million! So yeah, he wasn't just baking bread anymore. He was running a pretty major business operation. And it went way beyond the money. He was really sharpening his leadership skills. He was in charge of everything for his team of over 20 employees, from hiring them, to training them, to making sure they stayed, and even doing their performance reviews. These are the exact skills that became the foundation for everything he did next. So, okay, at this point, he's got a really successful career in retail management. A lot of people would probably be happy to just coast from there, right? But not Dr. Mujtaba. He was playing a different game, a much longer game. And this is where his story gets super strategic. This was his secret weapon. Remember those 60 to 80-hour work weeks? Well, on top of all that, he was also going to school at night, on the weekends, getting his master's and even his doctorate. He wasn't just focused on his current career, he was systematically building the foundation for his next one. Now that is turning hope into action. What he was doing is what you might call a strategic pivot. This wasn't just some random decision to change careers. Nope. It was a calculated move that he planned for years. And what powered it? His dedication to always be learning and a really clear vision of where he wanted to end up. And it worked. After 16 successful years, he retired from retail. And just like that, he executed his plan, transitioning smoothly into the world of academia. He became a professor and a department chair, totally prepared with all the experience and degrees he'd worked so incredibly hard for. Okay, so Dr. Mujtaba's story is obviously super inspiring, but it's more than that. It's a practical guide. So now, let's take everything we've learned from his journey and boil it down into a blueprint that you can actually use for your own career goals. Honestly, he sums it up perfectly himself. He says, the key to moving up is to set goals and then take appropriate actions toward it on a consistent basis while learning on a continuous basis. That's it. That's the core idea that drove his whole life. It's not about one giant leap, it's about all the small, consistent actions you take, day in and day out. So here it is, his whole process broken down into 4 simple steps. Step 1, set clear goals that actually matter to you. You gotta know what you're aiming for. Step 2, never ever stop educating yourself. That could be formal degrees or just learning on the job. Step 3, seize your opportunities. When a door opens, a promotion, a new project, you gotta walk through it. And finally, step 4, practice persistence and patience. You have to understand, this stuff takes time. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And that brings us right back to where we started, action. So as you look at this blueprint and you think about the future you want for yourself, what's the first thing you're going to do? What's one tangible step you can take, like today? Because as we've just seen with Dr. Mujtaba's incredible story, that one small action, that's how you turn hope into your new reality.